Hello, this is McD the Beast, and this is McD Sports 4 coming to you today with my Week 3 picks to the college football season. Before I continue, don't forget to go ahead and hit the thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate if you do that. We're trying to go to the channel. So go ahead and do that. Sorry for coming out with the video kind of late. Usually I like coming out with this on Wednesday morning, but I decided to do something a little bit different this week. I decided to come out with the NFL one before the college football one because the NFL one is lacking in views. So I decided to do that, and then I got caught up in a few things and couldn't get it out until Thursday evening. So sorry for it coming out late. Let's look at the how we did last week. So last week overall we went 15 and 10. We picked 25 games this last week. We're going to pick 25 again this week. Against the spread, we did go 15 and 10. I thought we weren't going to have a good week against the spread, honestly, but we actually kind of did. So 15 and 10 against the spread. 5 and 0 in the locks of the week. We did good in our locks of the week. Unfortunately, the one that kind of killed us was the upsets of the week. We did not do well in our upsets of the week. So we went 0 and 5 there. So overall for the season, 38 and 21 against the spreads, 35 and 24. Locks of the week is 10 and 1. Upsets 3 and 8. So we gotta improve a little bit on the upsets. So the way we're gonna do it this week is same way last week. 15 games in the I call it the straight up category. 5 locks of the week, 5 upsets of the week. I pick the games against the spread and straight up, and I give you a score for each game. All the spreads you see are from DraftKings. They will lock as of 8:30 last night. I was planning on filming this last night, maybe getting out late last night, maybe early in the AM. But one of the things that happened was I don't like filming when it's thundering outside because you hear in the video, and I just didn't like that. It stormed here pretty good last night, so that's why you're not getting into this evening. So let's get into it. We'll start off with the first game, Cincinnati versus Indiana. I'm picking Cincinnati to win and cover that spread. They're 4-point favorites on the road against Indiana. I look at Cincinnati. They got off to kind of a slow start against Murray State last week, but they pulled away in the second half big time. I think they play a competitive game here against the Indiana team. Now, I still think it's kind of a top 25-ish team. So I do think that. I'm going to go ahead and take Cincinnati win. I think they win and cover. I do have the score 32-22. I think it's kind of a weird game, but I'm going to take Cincinnati by 10. Next game, Virginia Tech versus West Virginia. Despite being ranked, Virginia Tech is a 3-point dog on the road against West Virginia. I do think West Virginia wins this game. I'm going to say they cover as well. It would not surprise. Actually, I misread my notes. I actually don't think they cover West Virginia. So I think West Virginia wins, but they don't cover that 3-point spread. I'm taking West Virginia in kind of a low-scoring game, 24-23 West Virginia. I'm going to take them by 1 point. I'm going to be honest, not too confident in it, but I think West Virginia finds a way, wins this game. I have a 24-23 West Virginia pulling off. When actually, they're actually favored, but I don't think they cover. I'll take Virginia Tech +3. Next game is Coastal Carolina versus Buffalo. Two teams here, Coastal Carolina. They're ranked. Buffalo. Kind of a disappointing game against Nebraska. I thought that game would at least be a little bit closer. That was one of our upsets last week. Buffalo's getting 14 points. Where they're 14-point underdogs at home against Coastal Carolina. I'm going to go ahead and say Coastal Carolina wins this game. But I'm going to take Buffalo +14. I think they bounce back some. I think they lose this one by a touchdown. I think Coastal is the better team. I'll go ahead and take Coastal Carolina. Kind of a low-scoring game, but maybe it jumps up a little bit at the end. I'll go 24-17 Coastal Carolina in this one. Next game is Nevada versus Kansas State. Kansas State, they're actually a 2-point dog at home against Nevada. They struggled some. I know the quarterback, Scholar, is out. So I think this is going to be a dogfight type-ish game. I picked Nevada week 1 to pull off the upset against Cal. They did. Will not surprise me if they go into Kansas State and beat Kansas State. I went back and forth with this one. Sorry, I had to take a sip of water. Went back and forth with this one. I'm going to go ahead I think Kansas State finds a way, wins this game. I'm going to go ahead and take them +2, and they're going to find a way to win a low-scoring, uh, dogfight of a game. I'm going to go ahead and take them to win this one 23-20. I think this game is back and forth, but I think at the end, Kansas State, finding that home crowd, they find a way to win a game, this one, and maybe make a play or two. Probably defensively, honestly, and win it 23-20. Purdue and Notre Dame. Notre Dame is a 7-point favorite at home against Purdue. A lot of people are saying Purdue could come in and beat Notre Dame, and I can't blame them. Notre Dame's resume is piss poor. As a matter of fact, they might be the worst top 15 team I've seen in a while. I still have them in my top 15, but they might be one of the worst 2-0 teams out there, honestly. This is going to be a good test for them against a Purdue team that they beat Oregon State and blew out UConn, so I mean they're 2-0 as well. Purdue. I went back and forth for this one. I'll say this: I think the spread opened up at like 15 points. Purdue +15. Yeah, if you jumped on that Purdue +15, I think you definitely will win that ticket. Purdue +7 though. I'm gonna say Notre Dame. It's a rivalry game. I'm going to say Notre Dame makes a play or two to win this game and probably go ahead and maybe pull away, winning by 10. It will not surprise me if Purdue goes ahead and at least covers the spread in this one. It will surprise me if Purdue goes in there and outright wins. But I'm going to take Notre Dame by 10. 30-20 is the score I have. I just look at Notre Dame. I think the overall they're better talented, and I just think that they'll make a play or two, maybe pull away by 10. Next game, the big one, Alabama versus Florida, game of the week, your SEC championship from last year in Gainesville down there in the swamp. Florida is a 14-point dog in the swamp. A lot of things with this game. You have Nick Saban basically saying he's not sold on this team. He's worried about consistency. You look at Florida, they're playing two quarterbacks. You know the saying, if you have two quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. With Jones, Emory Jones, and AR-15 Anthony Richardson. Dan Mullen has said he's going to play both. Now, to what degree, I don't know. I think Emory Jones will play more because I think what's going on here is I think Dan Mullen wants to play AR-15, but at the same time, he doesn't think AR-15 knows the whole playbook yet. So I think that's why he's going with Emory Jones more. So I think you're going to see probably 80-20 Emory Jones most likely. I do think Bama goes in and wins. I definitely do believe that. I went back and forth with the spread. At the end of the day, Florida has kind of just been underwhelming. I'm just going to be honest. They've been kind of underwhelming. I think they are in this game for a while, but at the end, I think Bama pulls away. I think maybe they make a play or two. Bama does. Maybe Florida has a huge turnover in the third quarter or something. I went ahead and I have this game as 42-24 Alabama. I mean Florida. I'm gonna be honest with you. Florida just hasn't really covered any spreads. We picked both of their games this year for them to win and cover, and they have not. Especially, I was discussing with the FAU game because they had them winning. They were winning and covering the spread there, but didn't. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Alabama to win and cover the 14 points. I have it 42-24. I think Florida's in this game for a while. I think maybe it's back and forth even in the first half. But I think by the time late third quarter comes around, maybe the fourth quarter, Bama makes a play or two, pulls away, wins and covers 42-24. Next game is Southern Cal versus Washington State. Southern Cal, first game without Clay Helland as their head coach. They fired Clay Helland on Tuesday. If you want to see my reaction to that, go check that out on McD Sports 4. There was a video about that. They're going on the road against Washington State and up there in Pullman. Kind of a tough place to play. I mean, the crowd's not that big. I think the stadium's only like 32,000, but they've been known to have a good home field advantage. They're getting 8 points. They're an 8-point favorite on the road against them. Washington State is a team that they lost to Utah State. They let Utah State come back and beat them. I don't really know much outside of that. Talent-wise, Southern Cal is a lot better than them. I do think Southern Cal wins this game. The question is, do I think they win by more than 8 points? I'm going to say they do. I'm going to say they win by 2 touchdowns. I think maybe there's a bit of a chip of the on their shoulder against an inferior team like Washington State for Southern Cal. I'm gonna say to go ahead and win this one. I got it 20. I actually have it by 15, 37-22 Southern Cal in this one. Next game is Utah versus San Diego State. Little Pac-12 Mountain West action here. The game's in San Diego State. Utah disappointing loss against BYU the past week. They are getting 9 points. They are a 9-point favorite on the road against San Diego State. San Diego State team that usually seems to always be at least one of the better ones in the Mountain West. I went back and forth with this one with the point coverage. I do think Utah bounces back. But I'm going to take a little bit of a chance here with San Diego State. I think this game's low scoring. That's kind of the reason why. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Utah win this one 20-12. I'm going to say they win this one by 8. I'll take San Diego State +9. I'll take a little bit of a chance on them to cover the spread here. Next game is South Carolina versus Georgia. Georgia's a 31.5-point favorite against a South Carolina team that is 2-0. Give them credit for that. They did go into East Carolina, find a way to win that game. Did cover as well in the last second field goal. We took them, I think, a 1.5. Them to win and cover that spread. This game, though, if you're a South Carolina fan, I think it's going to be an ugly game. I'm not sold on this offense one bit. Georgia's going to – I think Georgia's the type of team. I know quarterback's kind of an issue right now because JT Daniels is out with an injury. If they go Stetson Bennett, I expect a similar performance like the UAB game, which is only getting like 22 points against UAB. And I said they would definitely win and cover. That was one of their locks of the week, and they did. I think Georgia goes ahead and wins this game, and I do think they cover as well. I just don't see the offense for South Carolina really doing much. I gave South Carolina a touchdown. I went Georgia 40, South Carolina 7. I took Georgia by 33. I just don't see much really going on here in this game. I think this game's going to be over by halftime. Next game, one of the bigger games of the week, a top 25 matchup, Auburn versus Penn State. Penn State's a 5-point favorite at home in Happy Valley. This is the ABC night game, and game day is going to be there. In my opinion, Penn State, very impressive win against Wisconsin on the road. Also be a Ball State team. And some people were picking Ball State plus 23, whatever the spread was. We took Penn State minus 23. To our credit, they did win and cover. Auburn, they hung 60 on both opponents they played. Granted, was Akron and Alabama State. To me, this is one of these games. If whoever scores like at least like 30 points, if someone can score 30 points, they're gonna win. I don't know if either team gets there. I'm going to take Penn State to win, but I'm actually going to take Auburn +5. I think this game's a field goal game. I'm going to go, and I think it's a classic game as well. I'm going to go 26-23 Penn State. I think it's kind of maybe a bit of a sloppy game, but I think Penn State behind that crowd is a whiteout game as well. They're going to go ahead and find a way to win this one. I'll go ahead and take Penn State 26-23, but go ahead and give me Auburn +5. I'm pretty impressed with Auburn so far, especially offensively. Next game, Virginia versus North Carolina. This game is on the ACC network, night game. Kind of one of your bigger games in the ACC. You have North Carolina. They're an 8.5-point favorite at home against a Virginia team that I do respect a lot. I respect what Bronco Mendenhall is doing there. You look at North Carolina, disappointing loss against Virginia Tech. Bounce back big against Georgia State. Big home game here, trying to at least bounce back. I do think they win this game. North Carolina does. I'm going to say they cover as well. I'm not sold that they're going to cover this game, but I'm going to say they cover that 8.5-point spread. I'll take North Carolina in this one. I think maybe this is a little bit more on the low scoring side. I'll go North Carolina 27-14. I think they win by 13. I think they are the better team. With the game at home, I'll say that they do cover. Next game is Stanford versus Vanderbilt. Stanford coming off a very impressive win against a Southern Cal team. That Southern Cal team was definitely better than Stanford. They get Vandy on the road. They are an 11.5-point favorite. Vandy, they lost really bad to East Tennessee State. But they did go on the road and find a way to beat Colorado State, which is good. 11.5. I do think Stanford wins this game. I'm gonna say I am gonna take Vandy, however, plus 11.5. I'm not gonna completely buy into Stanford. I do believe that they go on the way and win this game, but I think Vandy, especially after that East Tennessee game, maybe they found something against Colorado State. I'll take Stanford by 10 here. I'll go ahead and say that they win this one. I think it's low scoring. But I'll take Stanford in this one. I got it 19-9. I think it's kind of a weird game, a lot of field goals. I think a lot of defensive holds here, bend but don't breaks. I'll take Stanford by 10, 19-9. Tulane versus Ole Miss. Ole Miss, they're a 14-point favorite at home against a Tulane team that was very impressive against Oklahoma, and then they went ahead and blew out Morgan State. Um, I look at Tulane. I definitely think this is a bit of an overreaction to Ole Miss minus 14. I'm taking them to win and cover. Ole Miss, I just think that offense is too much. I do think outside of maybe Cincinnati, UCF, Tulane could be that third best team in the American. But I'm gonna just take Ole Miss to win this one by 3 touchdowns. I have the game here as 52-31. I do think Tulane scores some in this game. But I'm gonna go ahead and take Ole Miss. I think they're the better team. Go ahead and take them to win this one, 52-31. Arizona State versus BYU. This is a top 25 matchup. I think Arizona State's ranked 19, BYU 23. This is not a top 25 matchup in my poll. BYU's not ranked. I think Arizona State's 23. The game is in BYU. Arizona State is a 4.5-point favorite on the road against a BYU team that did very well against a rival, in-state rival in Utah. Give them credit there. I still look at this BYU team though. They played Arizona as a week 1 game. I thought they were underwhelming in that. I went back and forth in this one. I'm going to say Arizona State goes ahead and finds a way to wins this game. I'll take BYU plus 4.5. I got this game by a field goal. I'm going to go 30-27 Arizona State. I just think they're the better team. I also not completely sold on BYU. I mean, yeah, you went ahead and beat Arizona and Utah. Utah win was impressive. I'll give you that. But the Arizona win was a pretty underwhelming, especially when San Diego State looked better against Arizona than BYU did. So I do think Arizona State goes in, finds a way beats BYU, but I think BYU does cover that 4.5-point spread. I'll take them plus 4.5. And then the final game, Fresno State versus UCLA. UCLA, they're coming off a bye. I hope they're not ready for a letdown. Fresno State, one of the more impressive teams in the Mountain West so far. They went ahead and played Oregon pretty tough. 31-24 was the final on that one. They took the L there. They beat UConn. They blew out UConn. So definitely a Fresno State team that I at least think that they could hang with some of these top Pac-12 teams like UCLA. UCLA I think does at least find a way to win this one. I am going to take Fresno State plus 11.5 though. I'm going to say UCLA wins this one 28-20. It would not surprise me if UCLA does cover. If they do cover, this will be huge for UCLA because that means that they are, in my opinion, they cover the spread 11.5. They could beat Fresno State by 2 touchdowns. I do think that we do have to take them seriously at that point from what we've seen so far. But I'm going to say they won't beat them by 8, 28-20, UCLA in that one. So now, I kind of messed up the order here. It's supposed to be locks and the upsets. So we're going to actually do the upsets first this week, it looks like, because I screwed up the order. So these are the upsets of the week. Michigan State versus Miami. I think Michigan State goes into Miami and beats them. I'm absolutely sold that they will. I'll be honest, still not that impressed with Michigan State. Even if they beat Miami, we'll see how they beat them. I think it's a low-scoring game. I'll take Michigan State plus 6.5, and I think they go and then win the game outright. I'll take Michigan State 24-21. And by the way, for it to be an upset, they have to be at least a 3-point underdog. Next game, Minnesota versus Colorado. I'll take Minnesota plus 3. I know people are going to talk about the altitude out there and stuff. I like Minnesota. They're the type of team they eat up clock against you. A Colorado team, give Colorado a lot of credit. 10-7 loss against Texas A&M. Give them a lot of credit there. But you look at Minnesota. I think they kind of a sluggish game against Miami of Ohio. I think they bounce back, get the win here against a Colorado team I still don't know a lot about. I mean, yeah, they did go ahead and play a tight game against Texas A&M, but I'll go ahead and take Minnesota in this one. I'm at 27-24 is the score I have. I'll take Minnesota plus 3, pull out the outright upset. Next game, Northwestern versus Duke. I'll take Duke plus 3 to pull out the outright upset here. I'll take Duke in a low-scoring, ugly game. I can see this game being like very ugly. I got 13-10 Duke. I think this is going to be a sloppy game. Northwestern does not look good at all in any of the games they play against Michigan State. Their FCS opponent, I think, was Indiana State. They struggled, I think, some offensively in that game. So I'll go ahead and take Duke plus 3. I'll take them to win 13-10. I'll go ahead and take Florida State plus 4.5 on the road to upset Wake Forest. And you might look at this and kind of laugh at me, but I think Florida State bounces back big after that embarrassing loss last week. Mike Norvell, I think, is the type of coach that could at least have this team rally this team up. They are more talented than Wake Forest. Wake Forest, I don't think is a bad team per se, but I do think Florida State, they pull off the upset here. I'll take them to win outright plus 4.5. The score I have for this one, I think it's kind of a shootout game. I'll take them to win 36-33. I'll take them by a field goal. And then the final upset I have, Mississippi State versus Memphis. I'll take Memphis plus 3 at home. I think they pull off the upset against Mississippi State. Memphis is one of the better teams in the American. Mississippi State coming off a pretty good win against NC State. Don't get me wrong, but I'll go ahead and take Memphis plus 3. I think this game turns out to maybe be a bit of a shootout. I'll go 41-34 Memphis in this one. Now my locks of the week. So as I said, usually I have the locks before the upsets, but I must have done it wrong on how I did the presentation here on PowerPoint. My locks of the week. I do have Central Florida on the road being Louisville. I'm taking them as one of my locks of the week to win and cover. I am not high on Louisville at all. I think Central Florida comes up there and smacks them around, honestly. Would not surprise me to even win this game by 3 touchdowns. I don't have it by 3 touchdowns. I have Central Florida up there winning this game. I do have it 41-26 Central Florida. I think Louisville makes a big play or two offensively, but go ahead, definitely give me Central Florida to go up there and Louisville smack them around, win 41-26. Next game, my Maryland Terps. I am a Maryland Terps fan. I do think we go on the road, win and cover against Illinois. Illinois defensively, I think is going to struggle all night against these wide receivers for Maryland. I think offensively, I know they get the quarterback back there at Illinois and Petrus after that injury. I mean, it might help a little bit. I'm not sold on Maryland's defense, but I do think those wide receivers against that defense for Illinois is going to be the big difference in this one. I like Maryland 41-22 over Illinois to win and cover that 7.5 point spread. Nebraska versus Oklahoma. I like Oklahoma to win and cover here, guys. This is free money. I mean, let's be real. This is free money in my opinion to go ahead and take Oklahoma minus 22. I like them to win and cover. Maybe this game's kind of competitive in the first half because it is a rivalry game. But even then, Oklahoma's going to win this game by at least 4 touchdowns, in my opinion. I have the score here as 55-23 Oklahoma. So that's a 32-point win. So go ahead and give me Oklahoma by 32 over Nebraska, 55-23. Georgia Tech versus Clemson. I'm going to take Clemson minus 29 to win and cover. I know it's kind of a big spread, but I'm going to take them to win and cover. Georgia Tech, I'm not really sold on them that much. They beat Kennesaw State, great. They lost Northern Illinois, not great. The game is in Death Valley up there in Clemson, or down there in Clemson rather, from my location. I'm going to go ahead and take Clemson to win and cover. I think this game is a blowout, as I said. I'll go... the score I do have down here is 53-20. So that's the score I have. I'll take Clemson. I'll take Clemson by 33, 53-20. And then our final game, we're picking Oklahoma State versus Boise State. I'm going to take Boise State to win and cover here. They are favored 3.5 at home. I'm going to say they win and cover that spread. I am not sold on anything I've seen from Oklahoma State so far. I know they're battling some COVID issues there with the starting quarterback and Spencer there, but I mean, I just do not I just don't like what I'm seeing from Oklahoma State. I don't. I'll take Boise State to win and cover here. I do think this game's gonna be close. I think Oklahoma State stuff we're gonna give them a good shot here. But I'll take Boise State in this one. I'll go 38-31 Boise State. So those are my locks of the week. You saw my upsets. You saw my picks. Comment down below. Tell me your picks. I always like hearing from you all. Once again, sorry for not having this video out to Thursday night. Usually it's out Wednesday morning, but I switched it up a little bit this week to try to get more views on the NFL one. We're going to see how that works. But thanks for watching the video. Hit the thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel. Very appreciate if you do that. This is McD the Beast signing off.